Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 8 of the Hawkins Do You Copy podcast. My name is Lauren.
And my name is Emily, and in this podcast we talk about all things Stranger Things. One day I will find a different way to say that. And
I like it.
I try to mix up the tone every couple.
Okay, that's very good. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Don't forget that you can watch us on YouTube now at Hawkins Do You Copy. You can listen on Spotify and iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, and you can also go to our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook page to see previews of future episodes and what we are getting up to when we make Hawkins Do You Copy, which is a super fun time, and you should definitely follow us.
We are all across the interwebs. You can not miss us.
No, we are there. Very loud.
There you go. So today's question of the week is going to be, what is your favourite Stranger Things theory?
Okay. I'm not going to answer this question right now because, as you may have seen from the title of this podcast, that's what we're going into today.
Yes, we've been so excited
to film this episode. Oh my god.
Yes. So, that is going to be the subject of today's episode, is going to be Stranger Things theories. We've kind of touched on this a little bit when we were talking about the Upside Down and what it is, etc. And is it an alternative universe? Is it the future? Who knows? But we're talking specifically today about the characters, because there are so many out there. Some of them you will already know, because if you're any way attached to the fandom, I guess you could call it that. Like, I'm talking, umbrella term. If you're any way involved in it, or you have a Tumblr,
or an Instagram,
or an Instagram, it is theories galore, or Reddit, or just if you're on
anywhere. Now, we obviously have some of our favorite theories, but there's also other theories that we find interesting that we wanted to talk about. So we've made a little mind map, and what we're going to do is close our eyes, touch one of the theories with our fingers, and then talk about that theory. So we don't have an order for this. This is just going to be random and
see what pops up.
So
Lauren has been a lot more efficient than me, because they've written them all down on a piece of paper. I have my iPad, and I'm just going to go, okay, and hope for the best. So do you want to go first? Because I'm going to be a mess.
So I'm closing my eyes. So if you're not watching, just let you know my eyes are closed, and Emily will tell me where to stop.
Okay. Stop.
Oh, okay. So this is a really interesting one, and this is Will gay?
A big theory.
A very big theory.
It's everywhere. Yeah, it doesn't matter. If you've pardon the fandom, I'll say that in a collective term, in any way you would have come across this in some
There were
capacity.
Actual huge articles written about this after season 3.
Yeah, season 3, I mean, it's something that's been here since the beginning, but this has really come to the forefront, I think, after season 3, especially that line, which we will get into.
Oh, yeah.
I said, if you are on Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, I think
AO3. Are you on AO3?
It is a big one. So this is something that we've touched on very briefly. We kind of looked at more from Mike's perspective in a way, so we thought, okay, we can bring this up again. So Will being gay is something, or I suppose his sexuality.
Not straight. Will, a discussion on Will's sexuality. And I do want to preface this because obviously there is the whole sexuality debate and shipping and all of that kind of stuff. But I want to preface by saying LGBTQ plus representation is really important for me to be there. So this is not just oh my god, is it a debate? This is genuine. I think it should be there because I think it would be a really interesting exploration of sexuality if you think about where they live, the fact that it's in the 80s, everything that's going on, and then also everyone surrounding Will. So them going down this route, I think, would be a really good exploration of sexuality. Just that's prefaced by that.
For the sake of this, we will try and avoid shipping in whatever your ship is, whatever capacity. We're going to try our
Go
best.
wild unless it involves Billy.
Yes, exactly. We don't want that. So we're going to try and avoid any specific ships. There is obviously the major one concerning Will, which we will avoid unless we need to bring it up.
We'll have to mention it, I think, a little bit, but we're not going to go into.
We're not going to say preferences.
Open that door. So
So this is something that has been traced right back to season 1. I think episode 1 or 2, right from the moment when Will went missing, essentially. So I should also say this has also come from the show Bible, as we have spoken about before, that it describes Will as a 12-year-old boy with sexual identity issues. I believe that's pretty much the quote with that. So as we said, it could be not straight, essentially. So a lot of this also comes from the fact that how the names he's been called, whether it be from Troy, and once again we could say that could be schoolyard bullying
and just people stereotyping. Like, I think it's really important to remember here that, like, this is the 80s, and if you look at the like context of the 80s, this is when homosexuality hadn't been legal for that long, and also in some states it was still illegal.
I think we looked up for Indiana. Obviously Hawkins isn't a real place, but it is based in a real, I want to say district. That is a state. That's the word I'm looking for. So we looked up the stats, because obviously Hawkins isn't a real place, but Indiana is. And it was the late 70s.
That's what most things said when I had a look online and was looking at the things of it. But states nearby, not until like 2003.
So we were saying it's kind of the case of it's fine, but it's not fine, so to speak. If you can tell by like how I'm saying it with my voice, if you're not watching on video. So it could be a case of schoolyard bullying. I'm pretty sure that I remember in school that obviously I'm a little bit younger, and you're a little bit younger than our characters, but it was like an insult that was thrown around.
So I had it at me all the time. All the time.
And I'm pretty sure it's a thing that is probably still thrown around today. So it could be from that aspect. But there is that moment when Joyce is talking to Hopper, and he asks if he is, and she doesn't really give that answer. And to right, she does turn around and go that he's missing. But you don't have that moment of course he isn't. You don't get that from it.
But she's Joyce, so she'd be great.
Exactly. And there's obviously other hints throughout. I'm going to avoid the big subjects at the moment, but if we look at it from Joyce's side, that we have this whole conversation about how he drew a rainbow ship and how she was so proud, and people online have dug and found that there's a lot of like rainbow symbolism. It happens to be where he's standing or people he's with, and that kind of pattern follows him throughout, which, as I said, it could be digging, and it could be if people believe something. I'm going to be very psychological here, but like the idea that if you believe something and you start to notice it everywhere,
and if you ship something, you're going to want to do, like, I remember being a teenager and my OTP and wanting them to be together so much, and like even now I'm an adult and I still love my like I'll read a book and I still love the pairings, and the thought of them not being together is absolutely heartbreaking.
Exactly. You look and you go, or you see something and you think, oh my god, do they lock eyes? It's that kind of thing. If you want to see something, you'll see it. So it could be that as well, or it could be subtext, because there are so many articles online, and we have done reading into this for that, where people have noticed things and been like, and people were saying, well, if this subtext doesn't come to anything, it would almost be more of a shock than them turning around and being like, oh look, this is Will, if you get me.
Yeah. The thing, like, because obviously stereotyping is like would have been a really big thing there, and I think some people do still stereotype, and I think it's really important to not stereotype, and like to think, well, just because someone has these characteristics doesn't mean that they're not straight or blah 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 blah. So obviously it could also just be that it was the 80s and people did stereotype, because anything that was any boy that was not completely like masculine was seen as, oh well, they're gay then.
Let's think of Jonathan, for example. I'm pretty sure that if he was Will's age and growing up, he would probably be given the same label.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, he's not like other boys, so to speak. That he differs a bit from the norm. He's a bit more creative, he's into his photography, he's into this, into that. And whereas at the time, if we look at Steve Harrington in comparison, where he's very much, I'm the cool guy, I'm lit at school, I don't care. You know what I mean? That it's let's have parties at my house while my parents away. He's that kind of personality. So Jonathan would probably likely be given that same stereotype, so to speak. Yeah. And I'm gonna dip my toe into the theory here that if we look at, so obviously if you are anyway involved in any social media, a big ship for Will, for example, is Will and Mike, which I'm not going to go into complete details at the moment, but there's an argument for their friendship in season 2 as well, just being such a wonderful example of how two males can just kind of tell each other everything. So you can look at it from that perspective as well, that if you take away all the shipping, exactly, if you take away the shipping from it, he could just be, it's just so nice to see a character like Will on the screen.
Yes. There is the other side of that though. However, if you look at the script in season 2, when it is the snowball